The Resilience Across Borders podcast is intended for education, support, and inspiration. I am not a psychologist or a medical doctor and do not offer any professional, medical, or health advice. If you are dealing with or suffering from any psychological or medical conditions, please seek help from a qualified health professional. Hello and welcome back to Resilience Across Borders podcast. I'm your host Rachid, and in today's episode, we will talk about how to heal when everything reminds you of your ex. So moving on from an ex, especially one you know isn't good for you, can feel like walking through a minefield of emotional triggers. And sometimes even every song, every scent or spot you shared seems to conspire to keep you tethered to memories. While this is natural, there are ways to process and heal that are both healthy and lasting. So with that said, as always, here's suggestions and a guide to reclaiming your pace, and as we normally do here, with practical examples for each step. Number one, acknowledge and accept your emotions. I know this is easier said than done, and it takes a lot of practice. I keep working on it myself all the time. So it's essential to validate your feelings instead of suppressing them or trying to intellectualize too much or trying to use logic where it's emotions that need to be processed. So grieving the loss of the relationship, even a toxic one, is part of healing. So you can set aside, say, 10 or 15 minutes daily to journal about how you're feeling and be honest about your emotions without judgment. You have to name them, you have to label them, and you have to be able to process them in a healthy way. For instance, if you're triggered by a certain song, you can write about the memory it evokes and why it hurts, and the entry with a reminder of why the relationship wasn't serving you well. So of course, because you don't want to just dwell on that memory and you want to process the feelings associated with it and what it makes you feel, but then you want to end the whole thing with a reminder of why the relationship wasn't serving you and your well-being. Number two, reframe the triggers. Instead of avoiding reminders of your ex, which of course the ones you can avoid, go ahead, by all means, it's a healthy thing, but there are things you can't really avoid. You can't uproot your life a lot of times, and you can't avoid going to certain places and whatnot. And some of those places you love and you want to go to, and some of those activities you love and you want to keep. So you don't need to punish yourself. That's counterproductive. So instead, reframe their meaning or repurpose them to create new positive associations. So for instance, if you and your ex had a favorite park, reclaim it by visiting it with a friend or a group of friends or family members, or if nothing else, use it as a space for solo mindfulness walks, or walk with the dog or something else, or to jog or to do something healthy. Or let's say a specific restaurant makes you nostalgic. Same thing, go there with friends or family, or try a new dish while journaling about your growth since the breakup. Number three, practice mindful distraction. So engaging in activities that demand your full attention helps redirect your thoughts and create distance from emotional pain. Sometimes just too much reminiscing and recycled thoughts are just not helpful. Sometimes we need to process things, and that's okay. But if you find yourself stuck over and over and it's just those thoughts are driving you nuts and they're making you feel sick, it's time to make sure you disrupt that process. So by engaging in mindful distraction and in activities that fully keep you focused on them, and you can join a class like painting, or yoga, or even martial arts or dance, whatever, where you learn something new and also meet new people. You can also take up a hobby you've always been curious about but never pursued during the relationship, maybe because your ex wasn't into it, maybe your ex wasn't supportive of it, or maybe you just wanted to do it and you didn't have the time for it. Whatever it is, let it symbolize your fresh start. Number four, set boundaries with yourself and your environment. Unfollow your ex on social media and remove items in your space that keep you stuck in the past. So you can box up mementos like photos or gifts and store them out of sight. If you're not ready to part with them completely, consider revisiting them later when you feel stronger. If you see value in that at all, or if you think there's lessons to be drawn from there, or for whatever reason. Everybody's different, right? So you can also, for instance, replace framed photos of the two of you with images or quotes that inspire hope and self-love, or images of you and your family, or of you doing fun stuff that you love doing. Number 5, build a supportive routine. Having a consistent routine can ground you and provide a sense of stability during emotional upheaval, because sometimes routine sets you free, because you just get up and you start doing your routines instead of sitting there ruminating, for instance, or beating yourself up or second guessing or double, I don't know. You can you get the idea. Create a morning or evening ritual that focuses on self-care, like meditation, exercise, or reading. Also, you can start each day with 5 minutes of affirmations and reminders such as I deserve peace and love that aligns with my highest good, or I let go of all the things that don't serve me. Number 6, explore the deeper lessons. Reflect on what the relationship taught you about yourself, taught you about your needs, and about your boundaries. There was a reason or reasons that relationship didn't work. So there are lessons in there about these things that I just mentioned. So you can write even a letter to your ex that you don't send, expressing even gratitude for the lessons learned and affirming your decision to move forward. For some people, it's an angry letter, but whatever it is, don't send it, okay? An example, you can say in that imaginary letter or letter that you write and you get it out of your head, and even if again, you don't send it, thank you for teaching me the importance of mutual respect. I now understand that I deserve a love that nurtures my growth. Number 7, seek professional support. Sometimes the emotional weight is way too much to carry alone, and that's okay. A therapist can help you process and resolve feelings. Sometimes just even a temporary, even in a few sessions will be enough to give you the tools and to help get you out of that feeling of being stuck, which happens to all of us. I've been there. I know all about it. So anyways, consider, for instance, cognitive behavioral therapy to address thought patterns that keep you stuck and will help you challenge unhelpful thoughts and will help you deconstruct the disempowering beliefs. So if you find yourself ruminating over what could have been, a therapist can guide you in challenging these thoughts and replacing them with healthier perspectives. Number 8, cultivate new connections. Engage with people who uplift and inspire you, reminding you of the positive aspects of life beyond the relationship. So you can join a community, a group, or reconnect with old friends to expand your social circle. You can find groups centered around maybe your favorite hobbies. You can volunteer for a cause you're passionate about, turning your focus outward and meeting like-minded individuals. And number 9, visualize your ideal future. Sometimes this is really difficult while you're in the midst of really these bad emotions like feeling hurt, feeling sadness, feeling all of these like a cloud over you. So, but nevertheless, none of that lasts forever. So you're going to have those great moments where you're feeling good and even sometimes euphoric because you freed yourself from a relationship that is not serving you, that is no longer good for you. Take those moments and instead of dwelling on the past, focus on the life you want to create and the person you want to become. Because becoming that person, you attract the person that you want. But for now, just focus on becoming the best version of yourself. You can spend a few minutes each day visualizing yourself thriving and happy in a future where the breakup no longer defines you and no longer holds you back and no longer clouds your mood. You can even create a vision board with images and affirmations that represent your goals for travel, for career achievements, or personal growth. So healing from a breakup is not linear. So keep that in mind, because you're going to have those moments. It's a roller coaster, but it gets better with time. And then sometimes you're going to have those moments. Don't get discouraged. Just because you have those doesn't mean the next moment or the next day or the next afternoon or hour is going to be better. So, but every small step you take brings you closer to peace. So one day at a time, one step at a time, and by actively choosing to process your emotions and you reframe your triggers and invest in yourself, you'll find that the reminders of your ex lose their stings over time, making room for joy and new beginnings. And as always, thank you for tuning into the Resilience Across Borders podcast. If you are enjoying this podcast and finding it helpful to you, please pick up a copy of the companion journal by yours truly called Emo Jim on Amazon. You can follow the blog posts at resilience.com, ATRESILIENCE.com. Remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to others and stay resilient.